Ohio State is off this week, so why are we here? Do you know why we're here?
Like the cafeteria food?
We never stop. The Buckeyes with the bye week before they play Cincinnati next week. We are here to still talk Ohio State in the Big Ten. Doug Maurice, along with Ari Wasserman and Bill Landis, and we have a couple questions we want to hit this week. The first one is, as we think about Ohio State right now, we have seen them play 3 games. We have seen them play a close game with Navy. We've seen them lose to Virginia Tech. We've seen them blow out Kent State. Ari, what percent of Ohio State have we seen so far? Their maximum 100% effort that may be out there. How close are they 3 games into the season? Are they close or are they a long way away?
That may be out there at the end of the year because everybody's expecting a huge change from a program and a team that has this much talent that's youthful. So I think that you have to take that in consideration with some of the games that they've lost this year, or the game that they lost this year, and some of the struggles that they've had. But in actuality, while I think that they're going to improve, and JT Barrett's only going to get better, he's only started 3 games, I think you've started to see, or you've seen the things that Ohio State's going to struggle with all year. I don't know how much drastically different this team's going to get in terms of being able to make plays on the outside when a team plays the Bear defense, or how they're going to run the ball efficiently against a team that stacks the box, or if they're going to have a cornerback issue who can't cover their top receiver. I mean, I think these are all things that are going to continue to haunt Ohio State throughout the year. Of course, they'll get better, but if I had to put a number on it, I think we're probably...
You do? What's your number?
Yeah, 75%, I think, of what Ohio State's maximum capacity is probably what we've already seen. I think that there's going to be a lot of themes. You know, the themes that they've struggled with, I think, are going to be year-long themes.
So that's pretty high.
Yeah,
I think we've seen a good portion of how good they are.
I do. It's weird to say how good they are. They're just young, and I think that they're in a situation right now where they're going to be experimenting and doing things that it's going to take more than a year to just fix. I think a lot of people go back and try to remember the 05 season where they had this miraculous transformation where they, almost beat Texas, the team that won the national title that year. But they were already really good at the beginning of the year. Just things had to come together, and when they did, it was fantastic. But I just don't see that type of drastic change in this team because I think the things that they're struggling with are deep characteristical traits that they need to fix, not things that just go away.
Bill, you've been getting a feel for the Buckeyes here. You've been doing our weekly rewatch segment where you watch the game Saturday and then Bill goes back and watches it again and breaks down the tape a little bit. Are you seeing a team that has a lot of room for improvement, or what's your number on what percent of Ohio State we've seen so far?
I think my number is pretty close to yours, Ari. Yours was 75. I think mine's slightly higher than that. I'm going to say 80. I don't see a ton of room for improvement with this team. I think they're young, and it's going to take more than just this season for this team to get better. I think against Kent State, we saw the offense. It wasn't dink and dunk, but it was short stuff and easy throws for JT Barrett and getting the guys the ball in space. I think that's it. I think that's the offense you're going to see the rest of this year, and they can fine-tune that a bit, but I don't know how much better it's going to be until these guys get more comfortable. They're able to stretch the field a little bit more. Defensively, I think obviously 66-0 shutout against Kent State looks good, but it's kind of tough to gauge the defense. I think that might be where the most room for improvement is with that 20% gap that I still see there. I think the defense can become a little bit better when you look at the front. The front seven probably rivals most of any of the front sevens in the Big Ten. The secondary still has question marks, and that's probably the area of that defense that has the most to gain moving forward. So 80% is my number, 20% gap from the makeup, and I think the area where they can make that up is defensively.
I'm writing this down. 75 for Ari and 80 for Bill. When we talked about this question, I was high too, initially. I'm going to end up being, I think, a little lower than you guys know. I'm going to say 60% of what they can be, and I'm basing that almost entirely on JT Barrett. And I think the talk early on about JT Barrett from people who thought he could just step in and do this like that was unrealistic. I think he has a chance to be significantly better by the end of the year. I think there are times we've seen him stare down receivers. We've seen him maybe be a little hesitant, I think, when he gets pressure to know exactly when he should get out of the pocket and scramble and when he should stay and try to make a play. I think there are types of throws that he can make a little better, maybe some intermediate throws. I think he's a smart guy. I think he's a mature guy. I think he will improve. I think there's a chance. Now, he's not going to be Braxton Miller. He's not going to be Jameis Winston by the Michigan State game. I think it's possible he could be significantly better than what we've seen so far. So because mostly of that, and in some ways because of the offensive line, I agree with you, Bill, on the defense. I don't know that there's much more there than what we're going to see. But I think possibly because of JT Barrett, they could get a lot better.
One thing I will add is I think Ohio State's going to be playing a lot of teams that aren't very good. And I think
don't be mean to the Big Ten.
I'm being real with the Big Ten, and that's the best thing a friend can do. But seriously, I think that they're going to be playing teams that can't match up athletically, kind of the way Kent State did, not to the same extreme, but I think Ohio State's going to be able to go out in some of these games and impose their depth and their will on other teams, and that's going to certainly help in what it looks like. The question to me is, how much can this team grow in between now and early November when they go to East Lansing to play a team that can actually do athletically the things that Virginia Tech did to beat them? And so things are, in my opinion, especially if they get by Cincinnati, and we'll talk about whether they're going to do that next week, but if they can get by Cincinnati and get through the first portion of their Big Ten schedule while improving, things get interesting in November, but I don't think we're really going to know how much better things are until they actually play a team again that can match what Virginia Tech did.